What's up, everybody? Marla Cross 316 back with another comic book flashback. And today, folks, we are looking at Marvel Team Up issue number 7. This issue was released in December of 1972, and the cover date is March of 1973. And today we have Spider Man teaming up with the mighty Thor for the very first time, folks. And they're going to be fighting this villain right here. His name is Acrylic, and he is an old time rival of Thor. So we have a really cool looking story to look at today as we encounter two worlds to conquer. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today, a hitch in time. And so I hope that you've been enjoying this series so far as we've been going in chronological order of the Marvel Team Up series from Volume 1 that started back in I believe March of 1972. But anyways, we have to give credit where credit is due. This issue is brought to you by Jerry Conway, who wrote this issue. We have Ross Andrew now doing the artwork, and I believe that Gil Kane did the cover. So we have Ross Andrew doing the inside artwork of this book. We have Jim Mooney on the inking, Artie Simek on the lettering page, and Roy Thomas as the editor. So let's go ahead now and get started as we look at the very first team up between Spider Man and Thor. And so we begin this issue off with a bang here with Peter Parker, our favorite webhead, our favorite news photog. He's walking down the street. It's late at night, and we notice here that he hears a scream. It's a scream of a girl's voice, and that alerts him. Well, this woman is being, it looks like she's being mugged in this dark alley. And Peter Parker, without hesitation, takes off his shoes and leaps into action here. And he's going to knock out these thugs here who are attacking this innocent woman. And he's getting away with this. You would like, wait a minute, how is Peter Parker getting away with this without revealing his secret? Because, I mean, he's doing this in front of everybody. Well, because it's night and it's in a dark alley, these people can't see Peter Parker's face. But we see this one guy comes up from behind, grabs Peter Parker, and tries to throw him off base here, but we see that Peter Parker is going to use his spider-like abilities and his spider strength to stop the attack, and he throws this guy right into his other thug here, and so both of these thugs are knocked clean cold out, and Peter says, "You were lucky this time, Parker. There wasn't enough light for them to see your feet. In the costume you haven't had a chance to take off, the costume which identifies you as Spider Man. Well, don't get a cramp patting your own back, handsome. There's still the matter of an hysterical girl to take care of. Huh? I don't believe it. She's running away." So Peter tries to catch up with this girl, and he's like, "Hey, listen, there's those men that were attacking you. I'm just here to ask, are you okay?" But this woman says, I know, but please, I don't want to get involved." And so then Peter's like, "Yeah, sure, lady. Don't worry about it. I know exactly what you mean." Well, while all of this was going on, we have a guest appearance here, and that is Thor. Thor was watching the entire fight, and he says in his Asgardian accent here, "Methinks thou dost suffer too well, youth. There be an enjoyment of sorts and pain of that kind, a human enjoyment. Self-pity, is it not?" So he sounds like Shakespeare, but that's how Thor talks like, especially in the Silver and Bronze Age eras. He had that old English dialect. Well, we see here that Thor, what he's trying to say is he's like, you need to stop worrying about, you know, stupid things, worry about things that matter. Well, while they're talking, all of a sudden the sky just all of a sudden just begins to light up, and it's very weird because this is supposed to be nighttime. And we see Thor's like, "Get inside my cape," and he swirls his hammer, and within minutes they notice that once they come out of the little tornado that Thor creates, that the sky has now just become chalk white. So something is asunder here. Something is very wrong because when they get back on Earth, they notice that everything has stopped. Everything, all living thing has frozen in place, and it's all in black and white here. And Peter and Thor are the only ones that wasn't affected by this strange effect. Well, while Thor's talking about this and he's wondering what's going on, Peter changes to Spider Man and Thor notices this. So now, not only has Thor met Peter Parker, but now he knows that he's Spider Man. But the good news is that Peter Parker never revealed his name to Thor. But Thor has definitely seen the face of Spider Man. So that's really cool. Thor was pretty much the first hero really to know the kind of the secret identity of Spider-Man. Well, all of a sudden, here comes Acrylic and his henchmen here, and they're the ones that's responsible for what's going on here on Earth. And so Thor and Spider-Man are going to leap into action here. We have some great action scenes here drawn by the great Ross Andrew as Spider-Man and Thor are just going at it. But we see here that the true reason as to why Acrylic is here is the Earth is just a stepping stone until he gets to Asgard itself, and he wants to pretty much annihilate Asgard, but Thor is not going to allow that to happen. Asgard is his homeland, and he's not going to cause any harm to befall his beloved Asgard. So Thor and Spider-Man are going at it here. And this is where Acrylic says, "But Asgard, noble Asgard, Earth is but a cosmic pawn, a stepping stone to the ultimate conquest. As for the how of this miracle, behold the dark crystal. 'Tis this which controls the fate of the worlds, which dams the stream of time. This dark crystal is what's caused the Earth and Asgard itself to freeze in time." Well, Thor gets angry and he's trying to attack Acrylic, but it seems to be just a image of Acrylic and his men. These men just fade away because they're on a different plane. They're on a different playing field. And so now Thor and Spider-Man have to figure out how are they going to stop this Acrylic from conquering not only Earth but also Asgard. Well, they go to the Avengers headquarters. Spider-Man thinks Thor's trying to get the help of the Avengers, but the Avengers are also frozen in time. But what he's really wanting to do is look at their machines. So Spider-Man's going to rewire the machines here in the Avengers headquarters, and this is where they're finally going to notice some of the solar activity that's going on in space, and they notice two residues from the dark crystal. One that goes all the way to Asgard, and the other that goes to this island. And so Thor and Spider-Man are going to split up here. Spider-Man's going to go to Asgard, and Thor is going to go to that island that's floating in space. And that's where basically Thor is going to encounter Acrylic. So Spider-Man goes to Asgard. He's there. He notices once again the same thing that was on Earth is happening at Asgard. And he's just going to be swinging around trying to figure out what to do. Meanwhile, Thor makes it to a planetoid orbiting near Jupiter, and that's where Acrylic and his men are at. And he's trying to find where they're at. Well, they seem to be underground. He grabs his hammer, strikes the ground, and underneath is Acrylic and his men. Thor goes on the attack here, attacking all of Acrylic's men, but he can't get to Acrylic because Acrylic is physical, like our spiritual form is in Asgard, but his physical form is here on this planetoid. So Thor can't do any harm to him for the moment. And so while Acrylic is boasting and his victory over Thor and saying that the god of Woden, called Odin of Asgard, I will kill because of my hatred for him. Well, Spider-Man also notices that on Asgard, there's the physical bodies of, or the spiritual bodies of these men that work for Acrylic. And so he notices that he can actually attack these spiritual forms of these characters. And another form that he's able to attack is the actual spiritual form of Acrylic himself, which is right here. And so he's like, excuse me, fellas, but your boss man and I have a little business together, and it's not the sort of thing you can keep waiting. What's with you, ugly? I'm used to being ignored, but this is ridiculous. So he strikes him. He seems to do nothing at first, but the physical form feels it where Thor's at. As we see, Acrylic cries out in pain, "Ah, my chest, my chest." And then Thor is able to attack Acrylic because his spiritual form was attacked. Then all of a sudden, while all this action is taking place, Acrylic and all of his men disappear. Who is the cause of this? And is none other than the cause of the Watcher. The Watcher steps in and interferes, saying that because Acrylic had stolen that, dark crystal, that he was a big threat to time itself and the continuum. And he had to step in and stop Acrylic, or the future that was supposed to happen wouldn't happen. And that's really what the Watcher's job is all about, is he's trying to make the future what it's supposed to be. The timeline has to be accurate. And so that's why the Watcher stepped in. And so that is how we end the issue. We have the Watcher coming to the rescue of Spider-Man and Thor. And I hope y'all like this issue. Coming up next, y'all, we're going to be looking at issue number 8. We don't know who he'll be teaming up with, but I'm sure it's going to be a really classic issue. And I hope to see y'all there. Go ahead now and drop a like on this video and subscribe if you have not, and I will see y'all next time.